So I've got cancer. I actually guess a better way to say would be that I've had cancer. This was something I didn't talk about for basically the last year. It's not quite a year yet, but last summer at dunk camp, we were doing crazy dunks and stuff. I took a shower and I just noticed something was weird, right? So went to the doctor, boom. Turns out I had testicular cancer. So that was in July of last year. And then in the end of August last year, I had surgery to remove said testicular cancer. I went a few months of doing blood work and things like that, and turned out that it had spread. And so now I'm doing chemo. So, this is end of March, March 31st is when I'm filming this. And I am doing chemotherapy. And actually today would be day 11 of doing chemo. And it's been a very interesting experience. And I'm mostly making this video just to update on one, what is going on in my life? Two, what are my perpetual plans? Because lots of things have changed. For those who don't know, we've had an interesting road to getting to where we're at this point in time. Years ago, very early 2019, I moved out to Florida and I started working with Ben Patrick and I started working at ATG. And I worked there for basically a year and a half. I left, I wanted to do my own thing. I started my own thing, we had Vertical Blueprint. I did Vertical Blueprint for about 9 months. I just rechanged the name, but it was the same thing, to Athletic Blueprint, because I wanted to focus more holistically, not just on vertical. Did that. Oh, also in this interim, I worked with Isaiah Rivera and John Evans for a while. Just, coaching with them and training with them. That was like a 4-month span. But left them just to do my own thing because I thought that it would be more interesting. And it was, for sure. It's a lot harder. And then from there, I moved and I worked at a gym. And I worked with no online clients and basically fully just in gym. And I did that for about a year and a half also. More like a year and a quarter. And that was it, Rift Gym. And Rift Gym is another local gym here in Clearwater where I live. And that was a lot of fun and I learned a lot of things. I did lots of different things there that I hadn't really done before. It was really cool. And now, in case you had not seen, I'm back with ATG and I plan to be with ATG for a very long time, if not my entire life. And that's kind of where things are. But in that interim, life has been crazy. I've gotten cancer, I had cancer surgery, now I'm doing chemotherapy. And just to jump right back to that, the chemo is going great. I haven't had lots of bad side effects. The only side effect I've really had is just, it makes me super tired. I can do nothing during the weeks where I have heart chemo. And the way that my chemotherapy works is I'm doing what's called BEP. It's a testicular drug, cancer regimen that, for me, it's 99.99% of the time it's gonna work, but it's just 3 drugs you take in cycles. And I'm doing 3 cycles. I'm near the end of the first one right now. I have 2 more. And the way the cycle works is that, first week, day 1 through 5, you're getting drugs 1 and 2. And on day 2, you get drugs 1, 2, and 3. And then days 3 through 5, you just get drugs 1 and 2. And then the next week on day, what would be day 2 of week 2, you'll get drug 3, and on day 2 of week 3, you get drug 3. And then that 4th week, which is the first week of a new cycle, you just repeat. And you kind of just go boom, 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 boom through this thing, right? And during the whole time, you get blood work. At the end of these 3 things, I'll get a scan to make sure everything's great. But so far, my prognosis is very good. I don't really have much to worry about. I just have to do this to make sure that in the future, I don't have cancer come back, and that's why we're doing this. But luckily, everything was caught early and we're chilling. So it's affected my training a lot. I'm too fatigued to be able to train, but that doesn't mean that I don't train. And I actually wanted to talk a little bit about that because, the way this works is the cancer wasn't really affecting me super negatively. I wasn't having side effects that were causing me to have any issues. So I was still training all the way up till basically the day before I started chemo. And leading up to that, I was actually getting really good at dunking again. throughout all the different places I've worked and leading up to now, I've had a lot of experience with a lot of different coaches and a lot of different clients. I mean, I've literally coached thousands of people over the last 5 years. And you know, for some I helped, some I didn't. But in all those situations, I learned something new. And it was all things I could learn back to applying to myself. And so that leads me to kind of like where my goals are now. I don't really have the desire to be like the best dunker in the world or something like that. Actually, my main goals is just pushing metrics like as absolutely high as I can. And actually I have a program coming to the ATG app soon for everyone to be able to do as part of our subscription, but it's called Anti-Gravity. And Anti-Gravity is basically that. It's me just trying to make myself the freakiest athlete I can be. Like, yes, it's gonna help my dunking, and yes, it'll help my basketball and like all those things too. But I really just wanna become as freaky as possible, and I really wanna show like very measurably how that occurs. So I'll also be writing 2 books in the very near future. They'll be coming out. That one of them is about Anti-Gravity, the program specifically. The other one is about my training philosophy as a whole, and like how you could take that training philosophy and apply it to yourself and get whatever results you want for whatever. And if you couldn't, you could figure it out. Training tech and just training philosophy is probably like the most interesting thing to me, and how to communicate it simply to people. It's a blast, because when you see someone really have this like, oh, I understand how that concept works, I know how to get stronger now, and I know how to tell someone else how to do it too. And I know also that if it doesn't work, it's one of these things and I can figure out how to fix it. That's like the bee's knees to me. So yeah, so I'm actually starting that now. And a lot of it has to do with like rebuilding a base that I never really built. At ATG, we have a philosophy about like, you know, being as able as possible. You want to have as much ability as possible. And I personally have defined these things, like what is ability, and you know, so how do you define like metric wise, I have more ability than I did before, or do I have less ability than I did before? And these are things I'll go into in future videos and in my book and in my programs. But basically the first step of like really unlocking like maximum physical ability is having access to full ranges of motion with no pain. And this doesn't mean like hypermobility, being able to like, you know, touch my toe with my arm like this or something. It just means that I can do a full depth squat, you know, I don't have overly tight hamstrings, that kind of thing. And while those things don't necessarily negatively affect your performance, when your goal is holistic, all around ability at the highest level possible, those are things that can actually impede this, because I need flexibility to have this high level of ability in the way that I define. So right now, because of, you know, how things are going, I'm doing lots of isometrics because I'm trying to keep my tendons healthy, because I can't jump right now, it's too fatiguing. I can't lift heavy, it's too fatiguing. I can do some body weight stuff when I'm feeling okay, and other than that, I can stretch. And even on the day, like the days where I'm getting all 3 drugs and it's like day 5 of a cycle, I can't even stretch. I'm just too tired and too dizzy from being so tired that like I would just pass out if I tried to stretch. So that's kind of where it's at right now. Actually, I have some footage of me at the hospital doing isometrics before day, what was it? It was day 8, or no, day 9, when I get the, like, it's day 2 of the 2nd week when I get the 3rd drug one time, because that one doesn't affect me too bad. So I was like doing isometrics while waiting to go into the infusion center. And then a lot of my stretching and stuff I'm just doing from home. Obviously, I live down the street from the ATG headquarters, which, you know, boom, we're here. That's where we're talking today. And I'll be training here other than that for the foreseeable future. So I guess the final snippet, and I'm probably just gonna make another video going in depth on exactly what I want to do with this, but I want to start, I've always tried to start YouTube series, but they've never really been what I wanted. Like, I'm very geeky. I like talking about geeky things. I like being nerdy and getting really into the weeds. And I like having like structure of like, I know what I'm going to be making. I like making creative, goofy things too, but that's more for like Instagram and short form content. The longer form stuff, I want it to be interesting and to have like continuity as it continues. And so the other day, I was thinking about what my goals are and like how I want to become as athletic as possible for as long as possible. And basically decided that the way to do that is to do like either weekly or bi-weekly updates, but I keep all the stats of my training for you guys. And I literally just make these updates and show you. Like a lot of people right now are doing this kind of more like casual. They show every day, you know, their workouts and stuff. And then you can watch that. That's a style that people are doing. And then people are also doing like, they'll do like more in-depth sciencey videos. That's what I want to do. What's up, homies? You're good. Yeah. So I'm gonna do more of that style, where it'll be a weekly or bi-weekly breakdown of all the training I had done in the 2 weeks or week before that video. There'll be a set day. It's probably gonna be Wednesday when these come out. And I'm just gonna go over like, what was my body weight? What was my calorie intake? Like basically every statistic that I'm tracking to see my performance, I will then be putting into these videos in order. I think it's gonna be really interesting, but we'll see. So that's it. Yeah, that's it.